What's going on, everybody? My name is Seth and you're watching 252 Squad, and in today's video we're back with the abandoned New Edge Mustang GT project, the one that sat for like 4 months and didn't really get driven or pretty much touched for a while. And in today's video we're going back on some stuff that we did in a previous video when we put the coilovers on. There's a few things I did notice about the car after that video. One, bump steer. It bump steers really bad now that it is lowered. And the next thing is it makes a really bad popping and creaking noise from the front, and that is coming from the ball joints where this car sat for such a long time. The ball joints themselves, the boots actually pretty much disintegrated on, and so it's now metal to metal in there. So we're gonna put on some Steeda X2 ball joints in today's video on the factory control arms, and then moving on from that, I did notice when I drive in the rain it started breaking up. That is because this side does not have a fender liner coming down in there, and it has the BBK cold air intake that runs through the fender well here, and that is getting water in it when it rains, and it is dirtying the map and causing the car to cut off. So we're going to be installing a fender liner, a new BBK filter, and some Steeda ball joints in today's video. So let's get started.
1, 2, 3.
So, like I said, getting it up on the lift here, you can see the issue we're having by not having a fender well. It actually broke off right there, and so coming along, it pretty much ruined what was pretty much a new filter here. It wasn't an OEM BBK one, but it was a new filter, and it is cooked. And then the ball joints, if I come down here, show you a little bit in there. It's hard to see, but there is like no material. It's just straight metal, and rusty metal at that. So we're gonna go ahead and start replacing those with these over here. So these are the Steeda ball joints that I was talking about. These are supposed to help with the bump steer as well as quiet up that noise. And then the next thing I got is this fender liner that is sitting right over here. Beautiful new fender liner. And then I also have, right here, a new BBK filter. I got all of this stuff from the great guys over at Modify My Stang. Hit them up. I'm gonna put the link to their website right here, and then their Instagram. They're great people. If you don't see what you want on the website, DM them on Instagram. I'm sure you can find it for you. But yeah, hit up Modify My Stang for any of your Mustang or other Ford related needs. They got all kinds of stuff on their website, and they got this stuff to me within 2 days. So pretty good, honestly. So let's get into a time lapse of ripping this knuckle off so we can go ahead and get these Steeda ball joints in. So, as you can see by the absolute plethora of tools that are behind us, we got it out. We had to use a ball joint press to get it off of the knuckle. I was being an idiot in the time lapse. If you didn't see, I was struggling a lot, and that's because I didn't take the sway bar end link piece off to get that control arm to drop down. So after I got that out, I hammered on it, dropped that down, used the ball joint press here, and a lot of tools to get it apart. But we finally got the new Steeda one in on this side, as you can see by the nice shiny ball joint there. If I don't take my hand out. Tyler's taking the other side apart. While he's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and take the filter off and work on the fender liner here. Alrighty, so little progress report here. We got the suspension starting to go back together on this side. Ball joint is in there, and then we got the new BBK filter in there. This man is dying actively. This man is impacting. He actually did the other side for me while I was putting the filter on. If you have a ball joint press and coilovers, this job is very easy to do. It hasn't gone too bad. So we're getting ready to finish bolting this side together. He's bolting that side together, and then I got to put a fender liner in it, and then I also have to adjust the rear shocks because they're still not properly. They're bottoming out. So I'm not getting the proper shock travel back there. So I'll probably show you a little bit of that as well. But getting ready to put a fender liner in, get all this done. So we are in the old stomping grounds. I'm at my parents' house here, and we got the 2-valve behind us. It did make the trip, but I did not adjust the rear shocks like I said I was in the last part of this video. And so we got it up on some jack stands. I'm getting ready to go ahead and adjust the rear shocks, because driving here, it was terrible. The amount of bottoming out the rear shocks were doing was terrible. Hoping they're not blown out, but they don't feel good. I'm kind of really worried about these coilovers being hurt. I think they might just be bad coilovers, but we're getting ready to see. I'm going to adjust them, and then maybe my dad will take it for a drive, so it'll be good. Alrighty, so to do this, what we have done is we've got the car up on jack stands, wheel off, we took the bolt out of the shock, and then we lifted it by the middle of the dip to get the axle to the ride height desired, essentially putting pressure and collapsing that spring some there, so that we can adjust this shock basing so it doesn't droop as much. So we're gonna raise it up a little bit. That way the shock isn't bottoming out up at the top. Whenever you hit bumps, it's kind of doing like a, bottoming out and bouncing really hard. So I'm gonna adjust that, and then I'm gonna adjust that side, and I've already completely destroyed my finger. So this is fun, but let's get it done. All right, so we got it back together. It was 100% sitting on the shock, because when we got it readjusted and put back down on the ground, it lowered the rear of the car by at least a ½ inch. I think it was literally sitting on the rear shocks. And now it has rear suspension movement. When I bounce on the trunk, it actually goes up and down instead of just staying put. So one thing I will say is, if you adjust the ride height on a divorced coilover setup on your new Edge Mustang, make sure to adjust your rear shocks, because it will leave you in a bind. So it's really simple. Just jack up on the rear diff housing, take your wheels off, take your shock bolts out, move the housing up, put a little preload on the spring, then bolt your shocks to it, and then it'll allow you to have a adjusted rear suspension setup. So now I'm getting ready to take it for a little quick test drive and see if it actually drives better now. Alrighty guys, so in the last clip you saw us, we were getting ready to take a test drive in the new Edge Mustang, and it went really well. As you can see, we're doing body work, but it went really well. Adjusting those rear shocks made a huge difference on the ride quality of the car. Much softer, drives better, a little bit more direct. And then that Steeda ball joint made a world of difference in the front end of the car. It drives so much better now. I cannot describe how much better it is having that ball joint in there. No longer pops, creaks, everything. The steering feel, way more less effort to just drive the car. And then now it just doesn't bump steer as bad. It still has some bump steer, of course, because it's lowered on coilovers, but it's not as bad as what it was beforehand. Previously, it was pretty rough, honestly. And now it feels like a fairly good drivable car. Cannot wait to rip this car down the tail of the dragon while we go to pits. My dad's gonna drive this car, and it's gonna be great. And so speaking of that, I'm gonna give you all a quick update, because you're probably not gonna see all of this before pits, because at the time of this recording, we're going to pits in almost a week from today. So as you can see, we still have to finish, we got all the body working done. We still have to finish the wrap, but we've got a lot of it done. It's really dirty from sanding and everything. But man, this thing is looking really good. We got a whole new front end on the car. Everything is looking pretty fire, and I cannot wait to show you all the rest of the videos and the content. So make sure to subscribe and like the video to keep up with content on the new Edge Mustang. But that's pretty much going to be it for today's video, guys. Just a little teaser here of what she's looking like, what she's going to look like. So just go ahead and keep watching the series, guys. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of y'all's day. Peace out, and I'll see you next time.